بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني من نور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علمك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue chapter 8 of section 11. We already discussed part of chapter 8. This is about classification of ilm husuli into nazari and badihi. And we said whether it is tasawwur or tasdiq, it can be divided to two parts. Badihi, which is self-evident, nazari, which is in need of something to help us understand. For example, if it is tasawwur, which is nazari, needs definition, mu'arrif. If it is tasdiq, which is nazari, needs another proposition or other proposition to be put together so that we can come to know this. Then we said badiyat, when it comes to propositions, are 6 types. Although Allah didn't go into details because it is in logic that we study. But basically we said there are 6 types. The most important one he discussed, which is awwaliyat. Awwaliyat, the primary proposition, are those that if you understand the subject and if you understand the predicate, just you understand them, conceive them properly, you would not need anything else to make the judgment. For example, al-kullu a'zamu min al-juz. Whole is greater than part. If you know what is whole, what is part, you don't need anything else to judge that kul is greater than juz. But the most fundamental of these awwaliyat is the principle of contradiction. That two things that contradict each other cannot both exist and also cannot both not exist. One of them must exist and the other does not exist. This is the foundation of all our information. And if anyone doubts this, cannot make any judgment. Then we started talking about Sufis. And we said if these Sufis doubt everything, they should at least not doubt their own doubts. And this gives us a chance to build lots of things, because they say, okay, you know your doubt, and then every doubt needs someone to doubt. So you know yourself, you know many things, and then we go with similar things and we establish. But if someone says, I doubt, but I am not sure that I doubt, even I doubt my doubt. And if you say, are you sure that you doubt your doubt? He says, no, even I am not sure that I doubt my doubt. He says, what about this? He says, even about this I'm not sure. So either this person is ill, or maybe this person is rejecting the truth, deliberately doesn't want to admit the truth. Then we reach this point. Now we want to continue. Allah says, Na'am. He says, yes, there is another option also, there is a possibility. Sometimes some people study philosophy and they are not well equipped and well trained. Then they will develop some kind of confusion. They become confused. They say things without understanding. So they are not necessarily ill nor hostile towards the truth. They are confused. This type of people are not bad people, but unfortunately they didn't know the proper way of understanding and learning philosophy. It's good to then help them with understanding, to clarify difficult issues for them. and to encourage them to study logic and mathematics. Because mathematics is very good in organizing your thought. Yeah, brings everything in order, and you cannot say, I agree, I disagree, I don't like this. It's very much straightforward. Many of our ulama studied mathematics. Even Allama Tabatabai used to take lessons on mathematics from a teacher that had no time except midday. So in the very hot weather of Najaf, he used to go and take lessons on mathematics. So it's very good in organizing your thoughts. نعم ربما راجع بعضهم هذه العلوم العقلية. Yes, sometimes maybe some of them has referred to these intellectual sciences وهو غير مسلح بالأصول المنطقية, while he is not equipped with logical principles ولا متدرب في صناعة البرهان, and it's not also trained about burhan. In Mantiq you have studied Sana'at Khams. One of them is burhan, demonstration, which is the strongest one for making yaqini, certain judgment. He's not trained, has not studied logic and not trained in burhan. فشاهد اختلاف الباحثين في المسائل بين الإثبات والنفي. Then he has seen that people disagree. One says this is correct, another person says no, this is wrong. Okay? Little by little, this person loses his ability to make any decision. I always say to people, if you want to study philosophy, first you have to study logic and then study Islamic philosophy before you go to Western philosophy. Because in Western philosophy, there is no one philosophy. There are many, many different types of philosophy. And some of them deny everything. And I have seen some of, teachers of philosophy in universities that because they have not studied philosophy properly first, then they have lost their confidence. I used to call them like their exhibition of philosophy. So they tell you Kant says this, Hume says this, I don't know, Descartes says this, Berkeley says this. They say everything nicely. But what about yourself? They just report. A philosopher has to have his own ideas, be able to defend. You have to be able to build something. Many people who study philosophy, and some of them, are not very far from here, they have no certain knowledge. They have no system. They just can damage and question. So, he says, شاهد اختلاف الباحثين في المسائل بين الإثبات والنفي. They have seen that those who discuss, they differ. بين الإثبات والنفي, between accepting and rejecting, 180 degree difference. والحجج التي أقاموها على كل من طرفي النقيض. Some people bring proof for this side, some people bring proof for the contradictory side. ولم يقدر لقلة بزاعته على تمييز الحق من الباطل. And because he himself is not well equipped, he is not able to discern what is right, what is false. فتسلم طرفي النقيض في مسألة بعد مسألة. So in every question, he accepts both sides. They say there was a person who was studying fiqh and he was listening to different ideas. So someone was saying one idea, he says, yes, this is good. Then someone was saying something opposite, said, yes, this is also looks interesting, nice. He was not able to make up his mind. Everything looked nice. فَأَسَاءَ الظَّنَّ بِالْمَنْطِقِ, and then has developed suspicion about mantiq. It seems there is no logic because both sides can be accepted. وَزَعَمَ أَنَّ الْعُلُومَ نِسْبِيَّةٌ غَيْرُ ثَابِتَةٌ, and has thought that sciences are relative. There is nothing decisive, nothing fixed. وَالْحَقِيقَ بِالنِّسْبَةِ إِلَى كُلِّ بَاحِثٍ مَا دَلَّتْ عَلَيْهِ حُجَّتُهُ. They said truth for every person, every researcher, is what his arguments have led to. For him this is right, for you your idea is right. Don't fight, don't argue. Both of you are right. How should we cure and treat this type of thing? وَلْيُعَالَجْ أَمْثَالُ هَؤُلَاءِ بِإِيضَاحِ الْقَوَانِينِ الْمَنْطِقِيَّةِ. People like this should be treated by clarifying logical rules and laws for them. وَإِرَاءَةِ قَضَايَا بَدِيهِيَّةِ, and they should be given self-evident propositions. لا تقبل الترديد في حال من الأحوال. Those self-evident propositions that in any circumstances no one can doubt. Like what? ضرورة ثبوت الشيء لنفسه. Anything must be true about itself. White is white. You cannot say white is not white. It's badi. وَإِسْتِحَالَةِ السَّلْبِ النَّفْسِ. It's impossible to negate anything from itself. You cannot say white is not white. White is necessarily white. And if you say white is not white, it is impossible. And other things. وَالْيُبَالَغْ في تفهيم معاني أجزاء القضايا. Another thing that must be done a lot, مبالغة. Mubalaghah here doesn't mean exaggeration. Mubalaghah means must be done very much, is to clarify meanings of parts of proposition. You know, one big source of mistake is not to understand what is meant by subject, what is meant by predicate. These concepts should be clarified very well. وَلْيُؤْمَرُوا. Another thing is that they must be asked. And يَتَعَلَّمُوا الْعُلُومَ الرِّيَاضِيَّةِ. They must be asked to learn mathematical sciences. Okay. Then Allah Tabatabai says there are two other types of those who are skeptical and Sufis. ها هنا طائفتان أخريان من الشكاكين. There are two other types of people who doubt a lot. They are skeptical. فطائفة, one group, يتسلمون الإنسان وإدراكاته. They say we accept that there are human beings and they have ideas, but what we don't accept is beyond human beings. I don't accept there is nature. I don't accept there is, for example, God. I don't accept there is mountain. Yeah, but I accept that human beings exist and they have ideas. يظهرون الشك فيما وراء ذلك. They express doubt about beyond human beings and their ideas. فيقولون نحن وإدراكاتنا. Only us and our understanding, our perceptions. وَنَشُكُّ فِي مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ. And we doubt about anything beyond that. This group, at least, they accept other human beings.
Sure. Are there groups of people who deny nature and animals?
Pardon?
How can there be groups of people
Some Sufis were like this.
who deny nature and animals?
Yes, they say, I don't know anything. Even this is good. There are people that they say, even I cannot accept other human beings. I only accept myself. Because this one, if they accept other human beings, we say, okay, how did you know that other human beings exist? So why you can see that human being, but we cannot see the desk in front of him? So some people, وَطَائِفَةٌ أُخْرَى تَفَطَّنُوا بِمَا فِي قَوْلِهِ. Another group, they realize that this is a slippery, because they don't want to accept anything. Now they realize if they accept that other human beings exist, this is a slippery road. Then they have to accept other things. So they say, if we say nahnu wa idrakatna, we human beings and our perceptions, there is i'tiraf bihaqa'iq kathira. They understood what is in this saying, min al-i'tiraf, from admitting and confessing lots of realities, lots of facts. Min unasi, there must be other human beings, there must be idrakat lahum, they must have perceptions, understanding. وَتِلْكَ حَقَائِقُ خَارِجِيَّةٌ, other human beings are external to me. How can you accept other human beings if you only believe in yourself and your ideas? Therefore, they limited. فَبَدَّلُوا الْكَلَامِ, they changed their speech, their idea by saying, أَنَا وَإِدْرَاكَاتِي, I only accept myself and my ideas. وَمَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ مَشْكُوكٌ, and I don't. They don't say they don't exist. They say I don't know about them. Okay? Allah Tabatabai says, okay, you say this because you say that sometimes we make mistakes, and over centuries we have realized that human beings have made lots of mistakes, therefore you have lost your trust. But don't you think that actually accepting mistakes is a progress? If it was not possible to understand anything, how did you understand that there was a mistake? Understanding mistake by itself is a knowledge. So this shows that we can understand. Yes, we can make mistakes. But this is different from saying that everything that we understand is doubtful. No, you have to improve yourself and make sure that you make less mistakes. أن الإنسان يدفعه, what rejects and refutes this idea is that أن الإنسان ربما يخطئ في إدراكاته, human beings maybe make mistakes in their understanding, in their perception. كما في موارد أخطاء الباصرة واللامسة, like when there is mistake in our vision, in our touching or tasting. وغيرها من أغلاط الفكر, or for example other mistakes that we have in our thinking. But لولا أن هناك حقائق خارجة من الإنسان وإدراكاته تنطبق عليها إدراكاته أو لا تنطبق, had it not been that there are some external facts which are external to us and our perceptions may correspond to them or may not correspond to them, there was no possibility of making mistakes and realizing mistake. What does mistake mean? Mean there is something that I missed. Yeah? If there was nothing, why you say it's a mistake? وَرُبَمَا قِيلَ, some people say, no, this is not safsat. Sufis are not this. إِنَّ قَوْلَ هَؤُلَاءِ لَيْسَ مِنَ السَّفْسَةَ فِي شَيْءٍ. They don't want to deny anything. بَلِ الْمُرَادِ, what they mean is not to deny everything. What they mean, أَنَّ مِنَ الْمُحْتَمَلِ أَلَّا تَنْتَبِقَ الصُّوَرُ الظَّاهِرَةُ لِلْحَوَاسِ وَبِعِينَهَا عَلَى الْأُمُورِ الْخَارِجِيَّةِ بِمَا لَهَا مِنَ الْحَقِيقَةِ. They say, what we mean is this. We don't want to say there is nothing in the world.
This is Sufist.
They say, but we don't want to be Sufist. We don't want to say there is nothing in the world. What we want to say is what we perceive through, for example, our ear or eye doesn't exactly exist outside. Because they want to say, for example, you see color. There is no such a thing as color. Or you hear some sounds. There is no such a thing as sound. This is the way they appear to our sight or our listening. They don't exist as this. So maybe some people want to say like this. كما قيل إن الصوت بما له من الهوية الظاهرة على السمع. Sound, with this identity that appears to us, to our hearing, ليس له وجود في خارجه, has no reality outside. It's us that we understand them in this way. بل السمع إذا اتصل بالارتعاش بعدد كذا ظهر في السمع في صورة الصوت. If something makes frequency in our ear at certain level, we hear it like this. If something makes certain frequency at certain spectrum, we hear them. Above or lower than, we don't see, we don't hear. فالحواس التي هي مبادئ الإدراك, so our senses, which are where our perception comes, لا تكشف عما وراءها من الحقائق. They don't show us realities beyond them. وسائر الإدراكات منتهية الحواس. Okay, this is about our senses. The rest of our understanding depends on our perception. So perceptions depend on hearing and seeing, tasting, they have problem. Other knowledge depends on his, then they also have problem. Of course, we don't accept that all our propositional knowledge depends on his. Tasawwur maybe, but not proposition, because we have some a priori knowledge, something that we know before experience. Anyway, this is in theory of knowledge. But at least some type of knowledge depends on his, and they want to question his. Allama says, وَفِيهِ, objection is this, أَنَّ الْإِدْرَاكَاتِ إِذَا فُرِضَتْ غَيْرَ كَاشِفَةٍ عَمَّا وَرَاءَهَا. If we suppose that these perceptions don't show anything beyond them, فَمِنْ أَيْنَ عُلِمَ أَنَّ هُنَاكَ حَقَائِقْ وَرَاءَ الْإِدْرَاكِ لَا يَكْشَفُ عَنْهَا الْإِدْرَاكِ. So how did you understand there are things that these perceptions don't show? You say there is no such a thing as color. How did you understand? ثم من أدرك أن حقيقة الصوت في خارج السمع ارتعاش بعدد كذا. Then who understood that hearing means that there must be such a frequency in the wave? How did you understand that? Or حقيقة البصر في خارج البصر ارتعاش بعدد كذا. Or for seeing there must be such a wave of frequency. هل يصل الإنسان إلى الصواب الذي يخطئ فيه الحواس إلا من طريق الإدراك الإنساني? Is human being reaching the truth about his mistakes through human understanding or non-human understanding? Is there any way other than human understanding to understand mistakes? So it means that we have to trust human understanding. You cannot say 100% we doubt human understanding. وَبَعْدَ ذَلِكَ كُلَّ. And after all this, تَجْوِيزُ أَلَّا يَنْطَبِقَ مُدْلَكُ الْإِدْرَاكِ عَلَى مَا وَرَاءَهُ. To say that it is possible that itlaq in general would not correspond to anything beyond لا يحتمل إلا السفسطة. This cannot be except safsata. You cannot avoid and run away and say, no, this is not safsata. حتى إن قولنا يجوز ألا ينطبق شيء من إدراكاتنا على الخارج. Even if someone says, it is possible that none of our understanding corresponds to reality, لا يؤمن أن لا يكشف بحسب مفرداته والتصديق الذي فيه عن شيء. Even this is not saved from this possibility that it can discover and something, either concepts or proposition. Because even this is a fact or not. You say, I cannot trust in anything. Okay, is this a fact or not? So Allama is saying that if you want to really take a logical position, even if you want to be very careful and precautious, you have to accept that human beings have been able to find out some of their mistakes, and therefore you can learn how to reduce your mistakes. But if you say, no, because we have had some mistake, we don't trust anything, okay, what about this position? And also, how did you understand that there were mistakes? Alhamdulillah, chapter 8 finished. Now we enter chapter 9. And this is another classification of ilm husuli. وَيَنْقَسِمُ الْعِلْمُ الْحُصُولِي إِلَى حَقِيقِيًّا وَاعْتِبَارِي. One other classification of ilm husuli, let me at least say, beginning of it, my battery is also finishing. الحقيقي هو المفهوم الذي يوجد تارة بوجود خارجي. You remember discussion about وجود خارجي, وجود ذهني. So, ilm is also like this, because ilm corresponds to that. Sometimes something exists in mind and outside. In mind, doesn't have any influence, doesn't have any impact, effects, athar is not there. In kharij has. For example, concept of human being, concept of apple, concept of fire, concept of water. In mind, has no impact. But in reality, external world, it has impacts. الحقيقي هو المفهوم الذي يوجد تارة بوجود خارجي is the concept that sometimes exists with external existence فيترتب عليها آثاره. Then its outcome, its effects follow. وتارة بوجود ذهني, but sometimes exists with mental existence لا تترتب عليها آثاره. None of its effects follow. هذا هو الماهية. This is mahiyya. If you remember in previous book in philosophy, we said these are called mafahim mahuvi or ma'qulat ula. Okay? These are things that very easily we come to understand compared to ma'qulat thaniya. Ma'qulat thaniya need more exercise of aql, more intellection. Mafahim mahuvi, most of the things that we deal with them in our day-to-day life, in the physical world, we have a concept of them which is mahiyya. If it exists in the mind, doesn't have any effect. If it is outside, it's real, because as-salatul wujud shows that reality is made with wujud. Al-i'tibari ma kana bi khilaf dhalik. I'tibari is other than that. I'tibari has many meanings. One meaning of i'tibari is something which is not mahuvi. Either is ma'qul thaniya mantiqi or ma'qul thaniya falsafi. Ma'qul thaniya mantiqi is a concept that can only exist in mind. Like mafhum kulli. Mafhum kulli can only exist in mind. But falsafi is something that can exist outside, but it doesn't correspond to any being as such. For example, insan, faras, baqar, shajar, you can say these are things like this. But for example, mafhumul wujud, mafhumul wahid, mafhumul kathir, mafhumul bil fi'l, as philosophers say, uruz fi zihn ittisaf fil kharij, means there is nothing that matches them, that you can point at. There is no mabi'izah, but at the same time, external beings can be characterized by them. You can say, to look at Zayd and say, Zayd mawjudun. You can also say, this flower is mawjud. You can also say, Allah is mawjud. Mafhum wujud can be applied to different beings but it's not making their mahiyya. Actually, Allah doesn't have any mahiyya. So there are three types of mafahim. But my laptop ran out of battery. We have it on the camera, but I think I stop here because it's difficult. So just remind yourself and review to the discussion we had in the previous book so that inshallah we can build upon it. And then we mentioned other types of usage for i'tibari. I'tibari is used in few different meanings, and it's very important not to get confused about these meanings. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.